देव जय सुभद्रा जय सुदर्शन जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेव जय सुभद्रा जय शन गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय श्रील प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय श्रील प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय श्रील प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय श्रील प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय श्रील प्रभुपाद 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 जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद जय श्रील प्रभुपाद 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 जय श्रील प्रभुपाद 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 जय प्रभुपाद श्री गुरु चरण पद्मा केवल भक्ति सद्मा श्री गुरु चरण पद्मा केवल भक्ति सद्मा वंदो मुहि सावधान मते वंदो मुहि सावधान मते यार प्रसादे भाय भवतोर्याये यहाँ प्रसादे भाए भवतोरिया कृष्ण प्राप्ति होए यहाँ होइते कृष्ण प्राप्ति होए यहाँ होइते गुरुमुख पद्मावाक्योचिते कोरिया ऐक्य गुरुमुख पद्मावाक्योचिते कोरिया ऐक्य और ना कोरी हमने आशा न कोरी हमने आशा श्री गुरु चरणे रति ऐसे उत्तम गति श्री गुरु चरणे रति ऐसे उत्तम गति ये प्रसादे पूरे सर्व आशा ये प्रसादे पूरे सर्व आशा चक्षुदान दिलो जय जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु सही चक्षुदान दिलो यही जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु सही दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशित दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशित प्रेम भक्ति यहाँ है ते अविद्या विनाश याते प्रेम भक्ति यहाँ है ते अविद्या विनाश याते वेद गायार चोरितो वेद गायार चोरितो श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु अधम जनार बंधु श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु अधम जनार बंधु लोकनाथ लोकेर जीवन लोकनाथ लोकेर जीवन हाँ प्रभु करो दया देहो मोरे पद छाया हाँ प्रभु करो दया देहो मोरे पद छाया एबे आजु शुक्र भुवना लोकनाथ लोकेरा दीवाना, लोकनाथ लोकेरा दीवाना, श्रीला प्रभुपाद पतित पावना, हाँ हाँ प्रभु करो दया, हे हो मोरे पद छाया, हाँ हाँ प्रभु करो दया, दे हो मोरे पद छाया, ए बेयास जुषु त्रिभुवना, ए बेयास जुषु त्रिभुवना, श्रीला प्रभुपाद पतित पावना, तू आपद लैलु शरणा, जय प्रभुपदा, जय प्रभुपदा, जय प्रभुपदा, श्रीला प्रभुपदा, जय प्रभुपदा, जय प्रभुपदा, प्रभुपदा, श्रीला प्रभुपदा, प्रभुपाद, 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 जय प्रभुपाद, जय प्रभुपाद, 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 जय प्रभुपाद, नीताय गौर हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल, गौर हरि बोल, नीताय गौर हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल, गौर हरि बोल, श्रील प्रभुपाद की नमः विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारणे श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gara Hari Bol. जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिविजकाचार्य अष्टोदर्श श्री श्रीमती श्रीमान भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की, ISKCON फाउंडर चार्य बिब्टी फाउंडर चार्य सेवित होल वर्ल्ड जगत श्रील प्रभुपाद की, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की प्रेम से गई जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री राधा कृष्ण को गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की, गंगा माई यमुना माई की जय। वृंद देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। ब्रज वृंदावन धाम की जय। नवदीप मायापुर धाम की जय। पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। श्री श्री राधा राधिका रमन जी की जय। श्री श्री कृष्ण बलराम की जय। श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा प्रभु सुदर्शन की जय। श्री श्री गौर निताय की जय। एकादशी महामहोत्सव की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada की।
हमारे साथ साथ श्री गुरु वंदना दबा सकते हैं। हमारे श्रील प्रभुपाद आध्यात्मिक गुरु के चरण कमल ही एकमात्र साधन है जिनके द्वारा हम शुद्ध भक्ति में सेवा प्राप्त कर सकते हैं। मैं उनके चरण कमलों में अत्यंत भक्ति एवं श्रद्धापूर्वक नतमस्तक होता हूँ। उनकी कृपा से जीव भौतिक क्लेशों के महासागर को पार कर सकता है तथा कृष्ण की कृपा प्राप्त कर सकता है। मेरी एकमात्र इच्छा है कि उनके मुख कमल से निकले हुए शब्दों द्वारा अपनी चेतना को शुद्ध करूं। उनके चरण कमलों में अनुराग ऐसी सिद्धि है जो समस्त मनोरथों को पूर्ण करती है। वे मेरी बंद आँखों खोलते हैं तथा मेरे हृदय में दिव्य ज्ञान भरते हैं। जन्म जन्मांतरों में वे मेरे प्रभु हैं। वे प्रेमा भक्ति प्रदान करते हैं और अविद्या का नाश करते हैं। वैदिक शास्त्र उनके चरित्र का गान करते हैं। हे श्रील प्रभुपाद, करुणा सिंधु तथा पतित आत्माओं के मित्र, आप सबके गुरु एवं सभी लोगों के जीवन हैं। हे श्रील प्रभुपाद, मुझ पर दया कीजिए तथा मुझे अपने चरणों की छाया प्रदान कीजिए। आपका यश तीनों लोकों में फैला हुआ है। कृष्ण कृपा मूर्ति अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।
जय राधा माधव पुण्य बिहारी। जय राधा माधव पुण्य बिहारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रजजन रंजन। यशोदानंदन ब्रजजन रंजन। यमुना तीर बनचारी। यमुना तीर बनचारी। जय राधा माधव पुण्य बिहारी। गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रजजन रंजन। यशोदानंदन ब्रजजन रंजन। यमुना तीर बनचारी। यमुना तीर बनचारी। जय राधा माधव पुण्य बिहारी। जय राधा माधव पुण्य बिहारी। जय हो परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य स्वामी सरस्वती गोस्वामी जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय। रामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण को गोपनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरी वृंदावन धाम की जय। नवदीप धाम की जय। गंगा माँ की जय। जमुना माँ की जय। द्वारका धाम की जय। स्वामी भक्तवृंद की जय। और ग्लोरी टू द और ग्लोरी टू द। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। 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 ime janapada srida supakwa oshadi virudha vanadri nadi udanvanto hi edhante tava vikshitai ime janapadak svidach supakvo shadi virudha vanadri nad yudanvanto Piedante tava vikshitai ime janapadak svidha
Siddha Imeng Janapada Siddha
supakvo shadi virudha vanadri nadyudanvanto Piedante tava vikshitai ime janapadak svidha supakvo shadi virudha vanadri nadyudanvanto Piedante tava vikshitai all these Janapada cities and towns Sridha flourished Supakwa mature Aushadi herbs Virudha vegetables Vana forests Adri hills Nadi rivers Udanvanta seas Ki certainly Edhante increasing Tava your Vikshitai seen. Translation. All these cities and villages are flourishing in all respects because the herbs and grains are in abundance, the trees are full of fruits, the rivers are flowing, the hills are full of minerals, and the oceans full of wealth. And this is all due to your glancing over them.
This is Vedic civilization. There is mention of so many things, that the grains are in abundance and the trees are full of fruits. The rivers are flowing nicely. The hills are full of minerals and the ocean full of wealth. So where is the scarcity? There is no mention that slaughterhouse is flourishing, industry is flourishing. No such mention. These are all nonsense things they have created. Therefore, problems are there. If you depend on God's creation, then there is no scarcity. Simply Ananda. The trees are full of fruits. If you have got sufficient grains, and because there is sufficient grain, there is sufficient grass also. The animals, the cows, they will eat the grass, you'll eat the grains, the fruits, and the animal will help you, the bulls will help you to produce grains, and he will partake little what you throw away. The animal will be satisfied. You take the fruits, inside of the fruits, you throw out the skin, the animal will be satisfied. You take the grains and throw out the grass, the animal will be satisfied. From the trees, you take the fruits, they are satisfied with the vegetables. So, there is full cooperation between trees, animals, human being, when there is Krishna is in the center. This is civilization. Krishna consciousness is there. Tava Vikkhitai. Tava Vikkhitai means this is duty of glancing over there. Just as we are sitting here, Krishna is glancing over us. Everything is nice, first class. Krishna has come very kindly because you are trying to become Krishna's devotee. He has come before you in his full opulence and is glancing over you, and you become happy and beautiful. Therefore we want this whole material creation is due to Krishna's glancing. So Khata in the Vedas, he glanced over this matter and the matter became agitated. Just like there is man and woman. When the woman is agitated, there is fruit. There is fruit. Similarly, the whole creation is in the same process. The nature, matter, has to be agitated. That agitation comes from the life, not from the matter. So, this is the Vedic information. Sa oikhata, sa asrijata. Krishna also says, aham sarvasya prabhava. Simply by Krishna's glancing, seeing, the matter becomes agitated and becomes pregnant, and the living entities come out, the trees, the fruits, and everything come out. Simply by his glancing. How it is possible? We have no experience that by simply glancing over my wife, I can make her pregnant. No, that is for you, not for Krishna. Not for Krishna. Krishna is described in the Brahma Sangha, Angani jasta sakalendriya vitti manti. Each and every part, limb of Krishna has got the capacity of other part. We, by our eyes, part of our body, we can simply see, but Krishna, by seeing, can make others pregnant. That is Krishna. There is no use of sex life, there is no. Simply by Krishna's glancing, Maya dhakshena prakriti suyati characharam adhakshena adhi akhena. Akha means eyes. By my glancing, Maya dhakshena prakriti, the material nature, these things are there in the Bhagavad Gita. You study. Maya dhakshena prakriti shuyate, gives birth. What kind of birth? Characharam, moving and non-moving. There are two living entities, moving and non-moving. The non-moving are the trees and the plants. They cannot move. They stand in one place. And we, human beings, animals, insects, flies, we move. So there are two kinds of living entities. Sthavar Jangam. In Sanskrit it is called Sthavar Jangam. So, this Sthavar Jangam, they are coming out of this material nature. Not the life is coming, but the body. When you say coming, coming means birth. So if you say, no, matter from matter, no. the living entities, they are accepting a type of body from material nature, not that actually coming. It's like a child is coming, taking the body from the mother. It takes 10 months to prepare the body from the blood and secretion of the mother. But the child is not matter. The child is a living entity. That living entity takes shelter into the womb of the mother, and the mother supplies from the body. By nature, so it is going on. The mother does not know how she is supplied, but from her body, another body is created, and when it is fit, it comes out to work. This is birth. Not that the living entity is taking birth, because that is stated in the Bhagavata. Na jayati, na mriyati va. The living entity does not take birth, neither it dies. Anything which does not take birth does not die also. Death is for such thing which is created. Which is not created, it has no death. Na jayati, na mriyati va kadachit, kadachit, at any time. Krishna says, kadachit. It is not that now it is not taking birth, formally it took birth. No. No kadachit. So I see this is child is now born. No, it is not born. Nitya sasata purana. That living entity is eternal. Sasata, always existing. Purana, very, very old. Very, very old. Then, na hannati hannamani sarire. Don't think that when this body will be destroyed, that living entity will be destroyed. No, it will continue. So, our scientist friend was asking, what is the proof of eternity? The proof is there. Krishna says, na hannati hannamani sarire. That is the proof. Shruti, this is hearing, disciplic succession hearing from the Supreme. This is one proof. One proof is by logic. Nyaya prasthan. You can get your knowledge by logic, argument, philosophical research. This is all right also. But another, Shruti, by hearing from the authorities. That is also knowledge. And Smriti. Smriti means statement derived from Shruti. Just like Bhagavad Gita is called Smriti. The Puranas are called Smriti. But Upanishad is called Shruti. And Vedanta is called Nyaya. So three ways. Nyaya Prasthan, Shruti Prasthan, and Smriti Prasthan. So of all these, the Shruti Prasthan, or the evidence by the Shruti, is very important. Pratyakha, Anuman, and Shruti. Pratyakha, direct perception. Direct perception has no value, because our senses are all imperfect. So what is the value of direct perception? Just like we are seeing every day the sun, just like a disc, say about 12 inches or 11 inches. But it is 1400,000 times bigger than this earth. Therefore, our direct perception with the experience with these eyes has no value. Similarly, all the senses, either eyes or nose, by smelling, by touching, by tasting, by hearing, there are so many senses we can experience, knowledge. But because the senses are imperfect, whatever knowledge you are getting by exercising your senses, they are all imperfect. Just like the so-called scientists. Because they are trying to understand by exercising these imperfect senses, they always remain imperfect. Just like our Swarup Damodar inquired, that if I give you the ingredients to produce life, will you be able to produce life? He questioned one scientist. He said, that I do not know. The imperfect knowledge. If you do not know, then your knowledge is imperfect. Why you have become teacher? That is cheating. When you have got imperfect knowledge, why you take the position of the teacher? That's why you should not have done that. Therefore, our position to become perfect is to take lesson from the perfect. Krishna is the perfect. Krishna says, na hannate hannamane sarire. So, we take the knowledge from the perfect, therefore this understanding that soul is eternal, that is perfect. So ultimately, Krishna, without Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained, when he was explaining dhatu, dhatu, the forms of verb, activity. So he used to explain ultimately Krishna is the dhatu. So Kunti Devi says, Ime janapada asriddhya supakka ausadi virudha. Everything is sufficient. Now, whatever mentioned here, that the grains are in abundance, the trees are in full of fruits, the rivers are flowing, the hills are full of minerals, and the ocean full of wealth. What do you want more? You can take from the ocean that, what is called that, oyster, what is called? Oyster. The oyster produces pearls, very valuable. If you can collect the oysters, you'll get valuable pearls. One pearl, $10,000. The wealth is there. So, formerly, people used these pearls, the valuable stones, silk, gold, silver, and decorated the body with nice manufactured ornaments, the beautiful body. But where are those things gone? Those things are now gone. Now plastic bangles. Advancement of civilization. All these beautiful girls without any ornament of gold, pearls and nice jewel, they have got plastic bangles. Just see the fun. So, what is the use of this industry? Slaughterhouse. You get all these things. Have enough food grains, enough milk, enough fruits, enough vegetables, clear, nice river water. There is no need of constructing waterworks. Why? I have travelled in Europe. Each and every river has become nasty. In Russia, I saw the river. In Germany, I saw the river. In France also, I saw the river. Nasty. And also in your country, I have seen that, what is the river in New York? Hudson and another. They have created nasty. By nature's way, such just like you see in the ocean, how the water is clear and crystal. By nature's way, it is kept very nice, clear and crystal. And from the ocean, the water is diverted by the process to come into the river, the same water, but it is crystallized without any salt. By nature's way. By nature's way means Krishna's way. So you take nice water from the river. What is the use of constructing huge waterworks supplying water? Nature has already given you. You take fruits, nice fruits. You take grains. You take milk products. You take silk. You take pearls. You take jewels. Everything is. You want richness, you collect the pearls, you become rich. There is no question of to become rich by starting some huge factory of producing these motor bodies. You see? So we have created troubles. Otherwise, if we depend on Krishna and Krishna's mercy, because by Krishna's glancing, everything is all right. Here it is said, Imi janapata sridhya supakau sadivirudha vanadri nadi uddannanto jegante taba vikhitoi. So, simply by Krishna's glancing, Kunti is expressing that so many beautiful things are there, simply by your glance. So if you simply plead for Krishna's glancing, so there is no question of scarcity, there is no question of need, everything will be complete. This is Krishna consciousness moment. You depend on nature's gift. By the grace of Krishna, they are our opinion that the population has increased. Everywhere they say the population has increased and they are checking the population by artificial means, by rascal method. Why? The birds and bees, they are not checking. They are increasing their population without any contraceptive. But are they in need of food? Have you seen any bird that is dying for want of food? Never. Any animal, it may be animal in the city, they may be dying for want of food. That is also not very safe. But in the jungle you go, you see all the animals. Big, big animals like elephant. They are very stout and strong. Who is supplying them food? The tiger, the lions, everyone. Everyone is living. Some of them are vegetarian, some of them are non-vegetarian. But nobody is in want of food. The tiger, by nature's way, the tiger do not get everyday food. Naturally, because he is non-vegetarian. So he gets his food with difficulty. Because who is going to face the tiger to become its food? Nobody is going. You say, I am very philanthropist. I have come to you to give you food, take my body. And nobody is going. Therefore, he has got difficulty to find out its food. Because in the jungle, there is jungle laws also, nature's law. As soon as the tiger is out, there is one animal that is called few. I do not know what is the name in English. It will follow the tiger and it will sound few, few. So the other animals will know now the tiger is out. So it has got difficult. It's got difficulty by nature's way. But still Krishna supplies him food. See, after 1 week, he gets the chance of catching one animal. Therefore, he doesn't get fresh food daily. he stalks the animal in some bush and takes little. So he has become very powerful. People want, I want to become like tiger, or I want to become like lion. But that is not very good position. Because you want to get food daily. That's a fact. And you have to search out food with great labor. But if you become a vegetarian, you get daily. Anywhere there are grass, you can eat. The animals are eating. Now, in every city, there are slaughterhouses. But does it mean the slaughterhouse can supply all the meat? Suppose you don't take any other food, grains or vegetables, can you live simply by eating meat? There is no supply, sufficient supply. You have to eat the grains and the fruits and the vegetables along with a slice of meat you take. Still, for that slice of meat, you are killing so many poor animals. How much sinful it is. It is not to be done. It is not to be done. Therefore, people are not happy. They are committing simply sinful activities. How they can become happy? But if you become Krishna conscious, simply depend on Krishna's glancing. Tava vikkidoi. If you depend on Krishna, Krishna will supply you everything. There is no question of scarcity. It is question of production. And sometimes we find that the grains and fruits are produced in huge quantity. One cannot finish. So it is a question of Krishna's glance. If Krishna likes, he can produce huge quantity of grains and fruits and vegetables. And if Krishna controls, then what your meat will do? You can eat me, I shall eat you, that will go on, but that will not solve the problem. Therefore, for real peace of life, tranquility and everything, sufficient supply of foodstuff, sufficient supply of milk and water, everything arrangement is there. Simply we have to depend on Krishna. Just like Bhaktivedanta Thakur is teaching us. So I depend on you. Maravi rakhavi jaichhatvar. My dear Lord, I simply surrender unto you, depend on you. Now if you like, you can kill me or you can give me protection. This is what. And Krishna says in reply, yes, sarvadharman parityajya mami kang saranam braja ekam. He does not say, yes, you depend on me and depend on your slaughterhouse and factory also. No. He says, simply depend on me, one. Mam ekam saranam aham tva sarva papi brahmakvaisa. So I will rescue you from the resultant action of your sinful act, because you have lived so many years without being Krishna conscious. You have lived sinful life only. The Krishna gives assurance that as soon as one surrenders to Krishna, he immediately squares up all account. All your sinful activities finish now. Finish. Now we begin new life. That is called initiation. But don't commit anymore. Therefore we take promise from our disciples that now the account is squared up. Whatever sinful life you led, that is closed now. Without any payment, I close. Now don't commit anymore. That is nama parad. If we think that Krishna Nam, the holy name of Krishna, can nullify so many sinful activities. So, if I commit little sinful activity and chant Hare Krishna, it will be nullified. No, don't think like that. That is the greatest sin. Namnad balad jasahi papa buddhi. Anyone who is thinking like that, let me commit some sinful activities and in the evening I shall chant Hare Krishna, it will be all right. No. No. That is the greatest offense. Out of 10 kinds of offenses, that is the greatest offense. Namnad, Balad, Jasai. Don't take to that process, confession, just as the Christians do. They go to the church and confess. Suppose one confesses, that's all right, and again does the same sinful activity, then what is the value? Accept. That's why accept, it is fact. If you confess before the Lord, they said, my Lord, out of my ignorance, the sinful activities are done out of ignorance, not that by planning that I shall commit sinful activities, go to the church and confess, then everything is nullified, again begin, new chapter, sinful. That is not ignorance. That is by knowingly taking advantage of chanting Hare Krishna mantra. So we should be very careful. We promise before taking initiation, no illicit sex, no intoxicants, no gambling, no meat eating. We should strictly follow. Then we are clean. Nama. And keeping oneself clean and keeping oneself always engaged in devotional service, his life is success, and there is no need, there is no scarcity of anything he wants. Thank you very much.
First time I saw Srila Prabhupada, when he came out, it was just, I guess a lot of devotees have said this, but it was really like the room just lit up from his presence, although he was pretty slight in stature. But just this amazing effulgence came from him, and I remember thinking, boy, this person is really powerful. And then I thought, I hope he's good, because anyone with that kind of potency, it'd be pretty scary if he wasn't. Of course, I found out he was more than good later on.
I'm sitting in the temple room, Prabhupada's sitting in the Vyasa-san, he's being interviewed by the news media. The question is, what will happen to your movement when you die? Before the words were out of his mouth, it was so lightning quick, Prabhupada was saying, I will never die. Right back at the guy. And we're like, and then Prabhupada explained himself, I will live forever in my books.
This was in the middle of the Inconceivable Marathon, so Romeshwar had arranged that the BBT staff, they're on a special bus that arrives right before the Rath Yatra and takes off right after. So I remember I just would look at Prabhupada and kept staring at him and praying, how can I be of some service to you? Because I was feeling that I was just useless and missing out on all the nectar and not having anything to do for Lord Chaitanya's mission. Well, here I was, working on the book marathon, but still, those were my sentiments. And I was lost in the crowd and just looking up at Prabhupada and praying like that, very emphatically from my heart. And I'll never forget, all of a sudden, amidst hundreds upon hundreds of devotees, Prabhupada suddenly looked in my direction and looked straight at me. And I was so shocked. He just looked straight at me and fixed his eyes straight on me. I had no doubt what was going on. And I was like, just stunned, like, my God, he actually hears, he actually knows what's going on in my heart.
Jayananda had said these wheels of the chariots are all wearing out, and they're dangerous, and they're too big, and they're too heavy, and we need to replace them. He wanted to make steel wheels with spokes. So he had this welder making new wheels. And the night before the Rath Yatra, we went and put new wheels on Jagannath's chariot and Balaram's chariot, not on Subhadra's chariot. Her chariot was relatively easy to navigate compared to the other two. So we pulled the chariots, testing the new wheels, and there was no problem. The next morning, of course, the parade starts, and as soon as we started pulling the chariots, these new wheels collapsed. Instead of being round, they became octagons. Between each spoke, steel collapsed. So the chariots were bouncing, and I was horrified because the vibration was so intense. Fortunately, Srila Prabhupada was on Subhadra's cart. But what was remarkable is that I had written Srila Prabhupada and told him that we were making new wheels. And he had written me back and said, the old wheels are fine. Don't change anything. This is your American disease. But by the time he'd gotten the letter, the old wheels had already been thrown away and the new wheels were done. So Jayananda reassured me, he said, no, there's no problem. But then it was like Prabhupada's words had to be fulfilled. So as soon as that parade started, the new wheels collapsed. And I could hear Prabhupada's voice say, stick with the old way.
The other thing that I remember is upon arrival at the festival site, Radha Ballabha, who was in charge of the production at that point, brought Prabhupada a stack of books which had just been printed, because this was during the Inconceivable Marathon, so some books had already started to come out. And Prabhupada took those books, and I'll just never forget what I saw. He was on the stage, seated on his Vyasasana, and I was down below, seated on the grass, and I saw Prabhupada just light up like the moon in the sky upon getting those books in his hand, and I'll never forget that. Then I remember him lecturing, and I remember him saying, I've given this example so many times. You water the tree at the root, all the branches blossom. You put the food in the mouth, the whole body's energized. I remember at that moment, I finally caught it. It finally dawned on me, the utter simplicity yet profundity of Krishna consciousness in Bhakti Yoga. Simply by satisfying Krishna, all purposes are fulfilled.
On the way down from LA to San Diego, Jayatirtha was falling asleep driving, so Prabhupada wouldn't let him drive anymore. So Jayatirtha got me to drive him a 1-hour drive, but of course in those days, none of us slept much. So I remember I'm driving, I'm about halfway down, I look in the back, Prabhupada, his head was tilted back and he was asleep. A few minutes later, I think it was Brahmananda sitting beside him, he was asleep. Jayatirtha sitting shotgun, I looked over at him. A few minutes later, he was asleep, and I was like going through all these things to keep my eyes open, and I was like pinching myself and doing all this stuff. I was falling asleep with my eyes open, and all of a sudden, I hear this, and Prabhupada starts the kirtan. And then gradually, all the others woke up in the car, and we had this really nice kirtan, 4 of us in the car. He led the kirtan.
Srila Prabhupada went on a tour of the temple, and I walked with him, and he, of course, went to the temple room first and offered his obeisances. I never forget, he walked in every room. He was inspecting everywhere. And the last room he went in was the Sankirtan room, where all of his books were stored. And when he saw his books were being taken care of and respected, he was so pleased. He grabbed me in his arms and embraced me, and he said, "Thank you very much, thank you very much." And I fell at his feet offering dandavats and said, "Thank you, Srila Prabhupada." That was the fulfillment of all desires, to see Srila Prabhupada smile at me.
San Diego is a beautiful place where the sun always shines. They had a very large poster that used to be displayed in Los Angeles, a billboard showing a man on the golf course with the green grass and the blue sky. The caption was, "Just another beautiful day in San Diego." So that's San Diego, a place where it's perpetually beautiful and the people are perpetually mellow and life is perpetually wonderful. And Prabhupada arrives on a beautiful summer day to address the people who had gathered for the Hare Krishna festival in Balboa Park. And they're basking in the sun, and there's these young demigods with bronze chests and beautiful blonde hair hanging down from their aristocratic, beautiful faces. And Prabhupada gives this lecture about this rotten material body. And it was just so perfect. It was just a dart in the hearts of these conditioned souls misidentifying themselves with the material nature.
Prabhupada was starting off speaking about one subject, and then a hippie interrupted him. "I want sex!" And Prabhupada just changed the whole subject of the lecture and began to explain in detail the grihastha regular principles for having children. It's quite astonishing. Telling the hippie, "You can have, but this is the way you have it." Then after he spoke, there was this wonderful kirtan.
There's Govardhan. He's the temple president. And I'd actually just taken initiation in June. So this is like a month later. I was actually here when Prabhupada came in, but I'm not here because I'm out at the curb with the car. And we had a nice white Lincoln Continental that we got from Ford Motor Company. We filled it with marigolds. I mean, it was just chock-a-block full with marigolds. And then when Srila Prabhupada came out, I offered my obeisances to him and held the door open, and he gave me a nice pat on the shoulder. I always remember that, and got in, and we took off for the temple. I was Srila Prabhupada's driver for his whole visit in Detroit. When you drive from the airport into the city, you pass Ford Motor Company. It's on both sides of the road as you're coming in, and there's actually this big tire that's been there for years. It came from the World's Fair, I think. In 1964, they had a World's Fair, and they had a Goodyear exhibit. So they brought this huge tire. So we're passing this big, huge tire, and Prabhupada says, Srila Prabhupada had a great sense of humor. He said, "Oh, this is the presiding deity of Detroit." And then we drove a little farther, and here's the car here. There I am. So we drove a little farther, and we passed Ford Motor Company on the left, and on the right, world headquarters, Ford Motor Company, it said. So Brahmananda said, "Is this where you work?" And Prabhupada said, in his very deep voice, he said, "No, he is the proprietor." So we all had a good laugh at that. And then we proceeded on to the temple. We were still at the temple on Jefferson. Temple on Jefferson is in a historic neighborhood, Indian Village it's called. And we would go out to Belle Isle to go for a morning walk. It's a park near the temple on Jefferson, so we would go out there and park and then walk around. And it was my job to find the proper route. And no matter what route I ever came up with, we'd always run into a bunch of rowdy people or something. It was just, because it's a city park, so the caliber of people in there were not so great. There'd be some people that had been there all night, come rolling out of the bushes. But Prabhupada was very merciful, and I think he enjoyed walking there. The devotees had built Prabhupada a palanquin because the temple room was on the 3rd floor. So they had built a palanquin to carry Prabhupada up to the top. And he took one look at it and waved his hand and said, no, because it didn't look very, very safe. We would come back to the temple room for greeting of the deities. And there's Radha Kunja Bihari Jai. Govardhan was such a perfectionist that, they were never ready by the time we got back. So, we'd be standing out in front of the curtain with Prabhupada. I could hear Govardhan screaming in the back, "Forget it, forget it!" Just get the curtain open on time. But he always did such a nice job dressing the deities. I think Radha Kunja Bihari were famous for their opulence and also the opulent prasadam and milk sweets that you got. We used to just steal the Mangalarati sweets after Mangalarati and go and
And he sat on the Vyasa-san, and nobody was doing Guru Puja. And I had never done Guru Puja before for Srila Prabhupada, and I'm not the type of person that jumps in on things. I always tend to let other people do it. But I was right next to the Vyasa-san, so Brahmananda just came and kind of pushed me over to the arti tray. So that was the first and last time I was able to offer Guru Puja for Prabhupada. But the experience I had was that it was like there was no puja going on and Prabhupada was sitting in a room by himself. There were probably close to 200 devotees in the kirtan, glorifying Prabhupada. And I was worshiping him. But the way Prabhupada was taking it was as if none of that was going on. I didn't see any, what we could say, relish of being in that position, or any kind of desire or inclination to take advantage of that position. It was as if nothing was going on in the room. I was doing the puja. He was looking, he would look around, kind of observe what's going on with the devotees, more that he was looking after them. And this glorification is going on, and he's just taking it in for our benefit.
Summer of '75, we were on one of the Radha Damodar buses. Adhikeshwar was the head of the bus, and we decided to follow Prabhupada around as much as we could. So we came to Detroit. The temple room was up in the attic. We converted the attic to a temple. Avi Ram, myself, some other devotees. Nobody knew how to do drywall taping at the time. So we had put all this drywall up, and when we were trying to figure out what to do, a young man showed up. And what do you do? Oh, I do drywall taping. So he stayed, taped the whole temple room, stayed when Prabhupada came, and then left, just like that. Krishna sent someone to help us out. Some gentleman had come to see Prabhupada, and he was someone who knew all the big auto barons and the history of Detroit, and he discussed that with Prabhupada. And he seemed to be very happy just to meet, a great personality like Prabhupada. Prabhupada didn't preach to him, just listened to what he said. It's very cordial. I was sitting in the room, brahmachari, and I thought Prabhupada was supposed to preach to everybody. But Prabhupada didn't preach to him at all. Prabhupada was just very nice and cordial, listened, asked a few questions. And I realized later that Prabhupada's a good judge of time and circumstance. This person wasn't into anything about spiritual life. He just liked to meet great people, famous people. And he came and met Prabhupada, the most famous person.
We did some programs also at the University of Michigan. Because I was a driver, I wanted to get Prabhupada as close to the door as I could. So one time I drove through these bushes and over the grass and everything to get Srila Prabhupada to the door of the auditorium. Brahmananda was sitting in the back. He's saying, "You can't do that just because you're a Ford." And I said, "No, it's not because of that." I said, "Because I have Prabhupada in the back seat. I feel I can bend the rules a little bit to try to get him as close to the door as possible." Prabhupada was laughing. He thought it was funny. But we had some nice programs at University of Michigan. And Prabhupada was just on his world tour. But at the same time, we were getting ready to buy a new temple. And Govardhan had gone out and scouted around and had found what is now the Bhaktivedanta Cultural Center. This historic mansion, the Fisher Mansion, which was in this very, very dilapidated part of town. East Jefferson, it's called. And it was, ghetto and just horrible. But the property itself was quite nice, and it was being sold. So we took Srila Prabhupada over there. The man who owned it owned an alarm company, so he had rigged the whole house up to test his alarms, and he had dogs and carpeting, and it was really moochy. So I was not all that impressed because it was dark and oppressive, and it was just like scary. It was a scary place. And, I was not all that impressed by it. But we walked into the ballroom that Mr. Fisher used to have his parties in. And at the far end of the ballroom were 3 arches behind which the orchestra used to sit to play for the people when they came to the dance. So Srila Prabhupada saw these 3 arches and he said, "Oh, Krishna has made this house for us." So we walked around and looked at the mansion here, there, and Prabhupada asked what they were asking, and they were asking $350,000, and Srila Prabhupada said, just to us, not to the realtor, every room is worth $350,000. And then as we were walking out, Govardhan said, how do you like this house, Srila Prabhupada? And Prabhupada said, who would not like? So Govardhan, I don't know why he said, well, Ambarish doesn't like it, because I expressed some reservations about it. I was a new devotee, and I said, Prabhupada, it's like Maya. When you're new, you think you know a lot more than you actually do. So Prabhupada said, yes, Krishna is Maya too. This can be utilized for Krishna's service too. Prabhupada saw everything as being able to be utilized in Krishna's service as principle of Yukta Vairagya, which I didn't know very much about then. Also, Prabhupada said if Krishna comes here, the neighborhood would change, because I had expressed some reservations. This is a high crime neighborhood. Actually, the first carjacking in the United States took place there. So I had some reservations about crime and what was going to happen to the devotees, etc. And Prabhupada said, you just bring Krishna here and distribute prasadam.
His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki